Yo, what is the deal, everybody? What is the deal? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to over 100 of you guys in the room. Get wasted with your brother, Wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's crazy, man. I mean, fresh back from vacation. I mean, man, I tell you what, man. Coming back home to this weather, bro, I'm just like, man, I'm getting sick already. I'm getting sick already. When I just tried to yell, yo, I'm like, damn, feel like I went through puberty again or something, man. What is the deal with everybody, man? Man, I tell you what, since free agent frenzy has been going on, I've been out of the country. And, you know, just got back in the country, got another stamp in that passport, you know. And, I mean, had a terrific time. Salute to my lovely wife. You know, it's me and my wife. You know, kids were left home, you know, because they're older now. You know, had some people come check up on them. But, you know, I had a terrific time, man. But, man, I tell you what, I didn't realize how, you know, when you come from a tropical climate and coming back in the damn cold, man, how much that junk affects you, bro. I feel, man, I'm telling you right now, I feel like I got a gorilla on my chest or something like that, man. Oh, man. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Get wasted with your brother, Wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this thing out to all social media. And I'm just going to forewarn all of you. Everybody that's over there on Twitter, everybody that's over here on YouTube, listen to me. Today, I am going to be on my soapbox the majority of the show. Because I have not gotten to talk about the free agent moves, what's been going on. I mean, I've been chomping at the bit. I was sitting poolside, kind of seeing what was going on, you know, tweeting a little bit, you know, reading. But man, let me tell you guys, man. First and foremost, there are a lot of people who are not as happy about some of the things that went on in free agency, right? I know this. And what I don't want to be is some apologist for the organization. I don't ever want to come off like that. You know, it's 100% authentic over here, right? So the kind of content creator that I am, and you guys know this, and that's why you're here, right? When the organization needs to be called out, I call them out. When the organization needs to be defended, I defend the organization. And other times, if I'm being 100% honest with you, sometimes it's just a matter of freaking opinion. And you guys as fans who have watched this team, who have suffered through some bad years, who have enjoyed good years, you are allowed to feel how you want to feel. You don't need for Wasted Talent or for Sanjeet or for, you know, Mitch or for whomever. You don't need for us to curate how you feel about your team. You are, you know what I'm saying? You guys are welcome to feel how you want to feel. But I think the job of people that are in the know is to curate how you view this. So, two things. Was I happy that the Raiders lost Robert Spillane? Was I happy that the Raiders lost Trayvon Merrick? Was I happy that the Raiders lost Marcus Epps? Was I happy that the Raiders lost Nate Hobbs? I'm going to be real with you. Yeah. Because when you start looking at market value and you look at how much these guys got paid, and I am no accountant, it's not my money. It's not my money. It is not my money. But what it is it's a competent organization deciding how they're going to do business. That's what this is. It is a competent organization that is trying to lay the foundation for a house of respectability. That's what's been going on all offseason. That's what the Geno Smith move is about. And there are a lot of people that says who replaces them, right? And I'll tell you who. Players that are commiserate to the skill level and or players that fit what Pete Carroll wants to do. See, people forget Pete Carroll is a defensive head coach. He is going to have the supreme say over what happens with that defense. See, this is the difference between Pete Carroll and what Patrick Graham had with Antonio Pierce. You have a true master from a defensive standpoint who has won at the highest levels in college and international football league that's coming down from Mount Olympus and telling you this is what I want. So when you start talking about Jeremy Chin, Lonnie Johnson, I mean, all these moves that the Raiders made, right? These guys are tailor-made for what Pete Carroll wants from them. And if you guys can kind of see a common theme from some of the defensive backs that we've brought in, they're big, they're physically talented, and they will light your ass up. They will light you up, and I love it. I love it. See, Merrick is a decent cover safety. He was playing closer to the line of scrimmage, but he doesn't lay the wood. He doesn't lay the wood, man. And if Pete Carroll, if I see nothing else this offseason, Jeremy Chin is like a damn linebacker. Even the linebacker that we got from Pittsburgh, that guy lays the wood. See, you can have the first pick for the number one pick in the draft, 20 years in a row, year after year after year after year, and you might not ever draft a quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes. You might not ever draft a quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes. Understand me. But the blueprint to beating Patrick Mahomes is knocking the sonic rings out of him and hitting everybody over there in Kansas City. Knocking people out of the game. Knocking the ball loose. Imposing your will. This is how you win football games. Football has not gotten to the point where it's gotten away from the main aspect of football, which is physicality. Dominating the guy across from you. This is how the game is played. And I'm going to tell you something. I love every second of it. If you look at the common denominator between the guys that they brought in, whether you agree, whether you've never heard of them, whether you don't like it, is that they brought people back that are physical. Physical. And I love it. I love it. Smash mouth defense. But there are some things I'm not happy with. And, had a discourse with Graphic Raider himself on Twitter about this. We talked about it over the phone. And as usual, he's wrong. I do not like how the Raiders in free agency has, to me, not done enough for the interior of our offensive line. They haven't done enough. Listen, Alex Kappa was a guy who, played really well at times in Tampa Bay, right? And we spoke about this. Alex Kappa played between Tristan Wirfs, played with Tom Brady. I mean, having a quarterback like Tom Brady even helps the offensive line because he knows where he's going with the football. He's not holding on to it. He knows how to move the pocket. He knows how to call out blitzes. It's just having a professor like Tom Brady is a different kind of it's a different kind of flex, right? It's a different kind of flex, man. It is, right? So when you start talking about Alex Kappa, right, you got to look at him in context, right? You have to look at him in context, right? He is a decent lineman, but under no circumstances can he be a guy that you sign, right, and just stop. You're to me, and look, people say that this line is better than we thought, and all of this stuff, right? Which is poppycock. Because there's a reason why our running backs couldn't run the football last year. It was not just because the running back does not have vision. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to effing hear that. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. This line, from a physicality standpoint, needs to be wildly upgraded. Wildly. I'm gonna be honest with you. Wildly upgraded. And you can say whatever you want, right? We got young linemen, right? But you have guys like Jordan Meredith that I like. I think, he should have a shot to compete for a starting gig. DJ Glaze should have a chance to compete for a starting gig. Theron Munford should have a chance to compete for a starting gig. Dylan Parham should be able to compete for a starting gig. But there's only 2 linemen on this line that have earned any kind of grace as we talk about who's going to start, who's not going to start. Of course, Colton Miller, right? And of course, JPJ at center. And the rest of these guys should have somebody staring across from them that can actually have a chance of taking their goddamn job. This is what I wanted. Because, look, there's every time there's a free agent out there, every time somebody gets cut, everybody that's in our ethos wants them to come to the Raiders, even whether it makes sense or not, whether it makes sense contractually, schematically, age-wise, anybody that is out there, Raider fans, and hey, I have a tendency to do this too. I'm not above the fray with this. No, I'm not above the fray. Anytime we find some way to do this gematria, we take the numbers and we try to find a way to put them on a Raider roster. Let me tell you something, man. That ain't gonna work. It has to make sense. And the only thing that made sense to me is the Raiders bringing in a guy like a Will Fries. Now, I don't know what the contract looks like, but at least kick the tires, right? Tevin Jenkins out there with Seattle. I don't know if he signed yet. Injury-prone guy, but that is the kind of guy that will move the needle. You bring him in, have him compete, let the chips fall where they may. Because the Raiders have a lot of needs. You can't address them all in 1 year. You can't all address them in one draft. But the one thing you're going to do, if you're going to go out there, you're going to spend your money, you got to spend your money wisely. You got to spend it wisely. It's like, hey, if you got to fill your house up with groceries, right? You don't go into the middle aisles and go buy pound cake. when you guys don't have any eggs, you don't have no milk. You have none of that. You have to go and get the things you need to sustain your household. And I don't think the Raiders have done a good enough job of that, if I can give them any criticism. But as far as from an overall perspective, I like the direction that the organization is going. I love the Geno Smith move. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. Right? We'll get into that a little later. But so I'm going to give so far, because free agency and the offseason is not over yet, right? And I kind of like that, the approach that the Raiders are taking now. They've let things cool off. They're kind of letting the field come back to them, right? So now you focus on the draft. You're not signing a bunch of guys that, you know, if you get lucky in a draft and address some of those positions, you're not double signing people and having money allocated to a position where either your rookie don't play or, you know. So I like the way that Spytek and the gang is playing this. But I'm going to be real with you. They need to go out there and they need to address the trenches a little further as far as from an offensive perspective. Guys, let me get to some of these supers, man. Shout out to everybody in the room. Get wasted with your brother, wasted. Tell a friend and tell a friend. My guy, fuck you. OG, how can I renew my membership to your channel? My brother, it is right at the top of the chat. Oh, my God. I appreciate you, bro, for becoming a member, staying a member. Man, it's the best way to support the channel, my brother. Thank you, man. Space Beast in a place to be with the $2 smackaroon. I'm here for Wasted. King, Ted at 6. We're going to get into, yo, McMillan, listen, guys. I know you guys heard the 40 time and stuff. I'm going to tell you why. And I got a short coming about Tetero McMillan. We got to pump the brakes on that a little bit. I'll break it down for you, Space Beast. My guy, DeMarcus Webb, preach wasted. Remember, for 16 long months. Shout out to my brother, DeMarcus Webb. And my guy, Omar. We shouldn't do on the QB this year. I say, load up this year because next year is generational QB. We won't make the playoffs this year anyway. Omar, you don't know that. And, bro, Pete Carroll, 73 years old, bro. And you'll be lucky next year just because these guys are generational. Everything is generational now, bro. Everything. Every 2 years, everybody says a quarterback draft is generational. Dude, you don't know whether it's generational until it's all comes out in the wash. Until these guys get into the National Football League. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You got guys now that people are lauding and, just, bloviating about. That you got guys in the league right now that are MVP conversations that people have anointed to the Hall of Fame already who have not won or done a goddamn thing. Josh Allen being one of them. He's a very good player, but you got people placing him in this rarefied air. This man's never won anything. Won nothing. Won absolutely nothing, bro. So let me tell y'all something. I'd rather take this route. Right? Because what you can't do to this fan base after bringing in another head coach is walk in and say that Aiden O'Connell and Booger Minshew going to be your starter. They did the absolute right thing. They have a guy who has been successfully starting in the National Football League today, who's had good years in the last few years. We didn't go out there and go dig up some corpse of a quarterback. We didn't go bring in somebody who, if the wind blows right and if the sun opens up and the earth spins on the right axis at the right speed at 33 1/3 miles per hour and it stays in its little pocket, then they might play better. Nah, bro. We got a guy that's currently playing well. Currently. That if you give him weapons and protection at the basement level of where you can go with the Geno Smith is over 500, first round of the playoffs. And this is the funny thing, man. It gets me to transition into the show. Now, everybody knows, man, nobody nobody plays the media game like Shedeur Sanders, man. I mean, he was, listen, man, you guys think that social media is your friend. You think that social media is your friend. Let me tell you something. Shedeur Sanders is like bane of social media. He is the bane of social media, man. The bane of social media. Yeah, I said it. The bane of social effing media. This guy was born in it. He was molded by it. Yeah. This guy was raised like Bane in the social media, guys. I was born in it, molded by it. You think social media is your friend, detective? Yes. Yes. This guy was on a reality show before he hit puberty. So yesterday, I don't know if you guys also, I'm sure you have. Everyone's talked about it, but I haven't yet. Shedeur Sanders took a picture with the great and powerful Geno Smith, man. Man, now, eye-catching a little bit. I mean, because what I think Shedeur is a master at doing, and I think this is one of the reasons why they posted it, right? I think it's a message to teams in the National Football League, silently letting people know that I have no problem starting my career off behind a player like Geno Smith and learning from him. And to be real with you, that's a good comp for Shedeur, right? Geno Smith's play style is very, very similar to Shedeur's. He'd be the perfect mentor for Shedeur, right? And it's eye-opening too, because it's, you know, all offseason Shedeur has done this like this love soul bounce with the Raiders, man. This tongue-in-cheek flirtation, pause if necessary. And you gotta wonder, right? How loud are the voice of Tom Brady? Because we know that Tom Brady has a big relationship with Shedeur Sanders, right? He's helped the kid grow. And I'm sure he thinks very highly of Shedeur. But we don't know exactly how high he thinks of him, right? Does he think that Shedeur is the kind of quarterback that can turn things around for you? Now, we all know that Tom Brady has been a guy that's been a proponent of a young quarterback sitting and watching and learning as a rookie. You know? So you got to start using some of that Raider gematria, right? You got to start lining it up and thinking the connections there. You got to think to yourself, is it a possibility that the Raiders at number 6 would draft Shedeur Sanders, right? Now they say anything is possible, right? But is it logical? Not just possible. Not just possible. Now, you have a lot of reporters that have two different viewpoints of this. You got people that say, hey, they're paying Geno Smith. You know, there's an article coming out talking about, you know, Pete Carroll took this hand and said that, you know, Geno Smith is a quarterback of the future. Pretty much, you know, putting water out on them drafting Shedeur, right? But at the end of the day, he's not the only one that makes this decision, right? You do have Tom Brady in the room, and he does wield a significant amount of power. A significant amount of power, right? Because that's coming from the ownership box. And he is the guy that Mark Davis has chosen to speak for him. This is his new John Gruden. This man speaks for me. I don't have nothing to do with this. I'm going to let my guy speak for me. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of a tug of war if Shedeur Sanders falls to the Raiders. Now, I think this is a very calculated move by Shedeur, hanging out with Geno Smith, showing that he's down and he has a relationship with Geno Smith, right? Hanging out in the Raiders organization and being around Raiders. There is a connection there. There's a big connection there. A big connection there. But we will see draft day, man. We will see draft day. Now, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that the Raiders are in on Shedeur if he falls to us. What does your big board look like? What does your big board look like? What does your big board look at? Listen, I see people talk about Teteo McMillan. I see people talk about Austin Genty, and Shedeur for the most part. What does your big board look like? My guy, Dark City, with the $5 holler. Appreciate the great Raiders commentary. Appreciate you, Dark City. Got Cold World in this picture, too. Shout out to my guy, man. Now, look, man. A lot of people are saying that the Raiders should stand pat, stand down. Just let the year be what it is. Wait for Arch Manning to come out. When we don't even know if Arch Manning is coming out next year. We don't know. He might stay. I remember the year Peyton Manning was supposed to come out. The Jets had the #1 pick. Peyton Manning stayed in school because he did not want to play for the Jets. And the rest is history. The Jets wound up taking Keyshawn Johnson. The rest is history, right? So just because Arch can come out doesn't mean he will. And there's a lot of good young quarterbacks coming out next year. But am I willing to be absolutely horrendous, draft a kid, put him in a bad situation, and then we'll be doing this once again? Bad football does not beget good football. Bad football needs to be stopped at all costs. When you're a bad organization, you need to come in and do everything you can to win. And damn some draft picks, because good organizations don't care when they draft. They just draft the right person. They just draft the right person. Shout out to the over 675 of you guys in the room. Get wasted with your brother wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And share this thing out to all social media. What the F is going on here? The F? Shout out to everybody in here, man. My guy. Bastino Tempo. I'd rather have the lamest looking nerdy QB that wins over an average QB that's cool and popular. Yeah, man, it's funny, man, because you see like the levels of I don't know. Shedeur made Geno look like an unk, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy work, man. Crazy effing work. Shout out to my guy, Roshak, Raider 24. The dad on Gremlins said he make the illogical logical. And that's what needs to be the forte moving forward, because we have been waiting for a winner for a long time. Shout out to my guy, man. Shout out to my guy. Now, when you start talking about Shedeur, you start talking about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll gave his take on the 2025 quarterback class, man. This was originally posted on Las Vegas Raiders on Sports Illustrated by Michael Canello. But everybody knows the Raiders have addressed their biggest need in this offseason, which is a quarterback. We've done that already, right? Brought in, Geno. And people thought that was going to change the Raiders' approach, right? But, Pete Carroll kind of debunked that a little bit. He kind of debunked that. I mean, this is what I got from what he said, man. He said it's not obvious, past a few guys, what is going to happen. But there are guys throughout the ranks of this class that get chosen that are going to be star players. And they have already proven that. So it is what it is to the teams to get them, put them in better positions to be successful. I think it's harder than it sounds. Now, Pete Carroll was talking about, quarterbacks, right? And let me get back to the beginning. He says, it's a really interesting group, Carroll said, in 2025 quarterback draft class. He goes, where they all go and all that remains to be seen. But there's a very talented group that has done a lot of winning, a lot of high production, a lot of style of quarterbacks are in this group. So look, Pete Carroll, if I'm reading that right, he's not really committed to none of this shit. I think if Shedeur's there, I think they kick the tires and consider it. I really do. I really freaking do. Shout out to everybody. Yo, wait, hold on. You think I need coffee? Is the live not leather right now? Good to see everybody, man. Shout out to my guy Gar. Became a YouTube member. Yo, at ease, soldier. Thank you for joining the Wasted Talent Army, bro. Thank you. Yo, no Genty does nothing for us. Okay, all right. I don't know why I even read that. You guys, I'm a little rusty. I've been off for a couple of days. You guys think I need some coffee? Yo, my guy Candyman. Ain't no way we waste our pick on Shedeur Sanders, the prima donna draft queen. But wait. Who pushes right? Hey, Candyman. Look, man. Listen. Why don't you just say what you mean and mean what you say, bro? So, look. You call the guy a locker room cancer bust pick based off of what? What are you basing this off of, yo? Like, yo, you got to be careful, bro. Putting your own personal feelings and biases on others, bro. The substance of the man, the heart of the man is, to me, a damn good kid. Hard worker, hard arm. As far as from throwing, right? He got the kind of arm, bro, that is freaking, yo, he gonna be able to throw all day. He's gonna be the kind of guy that's gonna be able to thread that ball on the needle. He's gonna be accurate. It's not gonna be a problem. I think Shedeur's a hard worker, right? There's all of these good things that are green flags and not red flags. When you start talking about the red flag stuff, is maybe being a little too in tune with social media. And that's about it. But this is a guy that comes with all of the hoopla and all the lights as much as possible. I mean, it's insane for me. Shout out to my guy, Darth Raider, man. What up, man? Been a member for 31 months. At ease, soldier. Appreciate you, bro. Wait, Sanders and that watch thing is kind of selfish, but he's a hard worker. At least he's accurate, but he holds on to the ball and takes sacks. Yo, look, if you got a bad offensive line, right, and you're in a situation where you're in a team that's outmanned in college football, you're outmanned, you're outgunned. They got people in the third and fourth string that are better than you. What do you do at that point? You get sacked. I mean, get the F out of here, man. What do you want the guy to do? F up out of here with that crap. Waste it. You bum. Get some coffee and treat the gout. What the? Yo, you know what? The F up out of here, Jenny Castillo. You about to get blocked talking your crap. Get some coffee. Hey, let me ask you guys something. The F is going on. You guys are talking about some. Let me address the gout wars since Graphic peeped his peanut head up in here. Let me tell you guys something. First of all, my feet are always well moisturized. Let me tell you something. I mean, a brother can't dip his feet and his legs into the tropical ocean and get a little dry. And you guys take me to task for having no-show socks on and a brand new pair of New Balances. It's nasty work out here. Nasty, nasty work, man. The F up out of here. And Big Mike today, I told that ham-hock-footed bastard today to leave, to stay out of the gout wars. But Big Mike, listen, you are going to get your comeuppance today on this show. Now, I'm not going to get into the nonsense right now. We're going to finish with this show, and then we will get back into the gout wars. The F up out of here with his crap, Big Mike. Yo, that joke was mad funny, though. He said my foot looked like a bear claw, bro. That's hilarious. Even though Big Mike, man, that's a heavy-footed mother effer, man. The side of them shoes we about to bust every day. Boy, no, you got Fat Pete. Yeah, but look, man. Look, we've flipped and bounced this Shedeur thing over and over again, and I'm not going to continue to do it. I don't even know if he's ever going to play for the Raiders. He's been flirting with the Raiders. It looks like, there's a symmetry there with him, right? It looks like it could possibly happen. But if it did or if it doesn't, What I need for people who have this huge problem with Shedeur is to look themselves in the mirror and really be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself why you really don't like him. And I'm not trying to put that off on you. I'm not trying to call anybody, out of their name or say that, there's some out and out prejudiced person or anything like that, right? But there are some people that get uncomfortable with loud and boisterous athletes. There are some people that are uncomfortable with hip hop culture. That's not their North Star. The same way, like, I'm not into country music, right? That's not my culture, right? So maybe it's a cultural thing there. It's a cultural disconnect. But if you're looking at the substance of this player, you can't tell me that you can't see the good there. And if you can't look at this kid and see the good and see the work ethic and the accuracy and the fact that he processes well and the fact that he's been raised by one of the great NFL players of all time and that he outworks everybody, he's a great teammate. If you can't name all those things and you tell me that this guy's a cancer and all this stuff, just because he get a little fly every now and again, just because he like to let his jewels hang a little bit, pause if necessary, just because he flashes his watch, then that's a you thing, bro. See, because it's more people in the National Football League that act like Shedeur Sanders than act like you. He has to ingratiate himself to them, not you. It's not for you. He's not going into a locker room and leading a bunch of fucking 50-year-old men. He's leading a bunch of people who are in his peer group for the most part. Wasted. You need some Geritol. You need to get the F up out of here, South Jersey's finest. Now, I'll give you a pass because you got a picture of Biggie and Lord Finesse. And Graf, you about to get blocked, Graf. You better get the F up out of here with your crap. Yo, man, this guy, I'm going to start calling you graphic hater. He come in here with his crap reaching for a pause-worthy moment. I taught you how to play the pause game. Don't you come in with your nonsense. But in all seriousness, though, getting back to this, I think people aren't being honest with themselves, man. They're not being honest with themselves, man. You got a problem with everything that has nothing to do with football. Everything that has nothing to do with football. And I'm getting sick of that. Evaluate the player, right? Evaluate the player. Now, there are other players in this draft that I hear people calling for, right? There are other people like McMillan. Let's get into that, right? We'll get back into the Shedeur. We'll get back into the Raiders stuff, right? There are a lot of people that are calling for Shedeur McMillan. The guy, ran a fast 40 and, all these great things, right? But see, this is the thing. This is the problem with not really looking and watching tape on these dudes. Now, I did a short on McMillan today. I'm going to drop it, right? There are a lot of people that are comparing him to Mike Evans. They're saying he's Mike Evans 2.0. They're saying that he is Drake London 2.0. And the only thing he has in common with those guys is the fact that he is 6'5", right? And he's a good jump ball receiver. Now, this is the thing. Wide receivers like McMillan that are not great running routes will get you in trouble as a GM. Because the problem with McMillan, as I see it, is he has a problem with his release at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't really have, the kind of football speed to where he separates from people. And most of the plays he makes are, 50-50 balls that, he's like more of a jump ball receiver. He doesn't have a release to know how to get himself open. Like, you can say what you want about Davante Adams, but Davante Adams got one of the nastiest releases as a wide receiver I've ever seen. It is Jerry Rice-esque. It really is, right? McMillan is a guy that struggles too with physical corners. Even though he's a big guy, he should be playing bully ball. And that's the difference between him and Mike Evans. Mike Evans coming out of Texas A&M was a dog. Mike Evans essentially won Johnny Manziel a Heisman. Nobody talks about that. I think it was more Mike Evans than Johnny Manziel. But the problem with those big, tall wide receivers, especially the position the Raiders are in, is that a lot of times when the main thing that you have to lean into is his size and the fact that he could out jump everybody and all these different things, and you don't lean into the fact that he's a great route runner, and you don't lean into the fact that he's fast and he has a great release, and you don't lean into those things, which are most important as a receiver, then what you wind up having is you wind up having players like Marcel Aitman, right, who was not drafted high, or a guy like Kevin White out of West Virginia. Kevin White, man, was a guy that everybody was asking, man, should the Raiders take him over Amari Cooper? And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not, because those kind of players normally don't work. Now, Drake London, the reason why Drake London is successful down there in Atlanta is because Drake London is a terrific route runner. And he knows how to get separation. He knows how to get separation. Look, the kid, like if you think that he's going to be your slam dunk X receiver, McMillan, that's not what he is, bro. He is a guy that you draft later in the first, maybe early second round, and put him with a star wide receiver, and he could be successful. But the situation the Raiders are in, he damn near have to be the franchise. It's not a good situation for him to come into. He is not Mike Evans. The only thing that's like Mike Evans is his frame. That's it. He ain't Mike Evans. He ain't Drake London. He's not even close. I'm telling you right now. So I don't see that happening. And I know that a lot of people are saying this is a weak wide receiver draft. But the thing is this. You don't necessarily have to draft a superstar wide receiver. You need different wide receivers in that wide receiver room to fulfill certain roles. You just got to go out there and identify the guy that can fill a role for your offensive and defensive scheme. I mean, and that's the double truth, Drew. I'll be honest with you. Let me go up here, man. Read some of these supers, man. Shout out to y'all in the chat, man. Rorschach. The dad on. Oh, wait. I read that one. My bad. South Jersey's finest. Wait, he said I need some Jared All. Okay, I read all of these. Get the F up out of here with your crap. South Jersey's finest. So look, I sit up here and I wondered throughout the offseason, right? Now I'm sitting up here. Now, you know, I was chomping at the bit to get on the air, man. And when I look at some of the moves that John Spytek has made, did he get that move like last year with Christian Wilkins, where he just knocks out of the park and grabs one of the marquee free agents right off the rip? No, that's not what happened this time. And I think it's really for the better. I mean, I think Spytek, Pete Carroll, and Tom Brady are just trying to get back to respectability first. They're trying to build a foundation of respectability first. So, you know, everybody says that the metric is to win a championship, right? But you don't go from being horrendous to being in the Super Bowl just like that. It's very rare I've ever seen in my time something like that happen. So, look, it's markers, it's levels. You build the foundation, you frame the house, you know, you put the siding on, you put the roof on, then you address the interior, and then you're ready to rock and roll, right? You're ready to stage the house. The Raiders are a house that is ascending. It's a house that's building. I think the fan base needs to pump the brakes a little bit on demanding us going out there and spending our whole cap room, going out there and getting older, unproven players at this point that were injured previous to this. Stop with the Raiders if they were to come here. You know what I mean? You don't want to go out there and have an infirmary in your free agent list. And then when you start really looking what's going on, man, when you start really looking at what's going on, the Raiders have been so consistently bad that I just think that it's more important that we consistently get back into making the playoffs first and foremost, instead of going and throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And then now you're stuck in a situation where you're hamstrung with cap space and you have players that don't fit what you're trying to do. Now, I think a lot of the way our secondary was made, it was made in the image of Pete Carroll. You could see that clear as day. Shout out to y'all in the chat. So CJ Mosley, look, I would love to bring in CJ Mosley, right? But the thing with CJ Mosley is you don't know exactly how hurt CJ Mosley is, right? And then also beyond that, what does CJ Mosley even want at this point? What does he want? What does he want? Does he want to win? Does he want money? What does he want, right? Because see, these are the things about when you start talking about, respectability, right? These are the things you're talking about. See, when you don't have the money to play ball because of something that you did stupid the year before, that is how organization is looked at as a dumpster fire. That is how you lose guys in your locker room. You lose great players, and then you got to try to backfill them, and you're constantly on this perpetual freaking hamster wheel that the Raiders have been on. The one thing that I can credit with some of the new regime is the way they're taking care of the people that they want to take care of, and they're moving on and they're methodical in their approach. There's almost nobody that I've watched them bring in that can. I don't know. It's just nobody out there that it's rough for me to say, man. It's rough for me to say. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. My bad, y'all. I'm like jet lagged. I'm tired too, man. Tired as hell, man. No, yeah, we started, man. My bad, James. My bad. So, look, man, this offseason, and I've been rambling on and on and on and on. This offseason is about respectability, guys. It's about respectability. That we're not trying to go from the outhouse to the penthouse in one season, man. It's right, Rudy. That's right. The Raiders are clearing up dead money and not giving dumb contracts this year. This was not that solid of a free agency. It wasn't, man. They're some of the deals that you're seeing, man, and some of the people that you guys want us to bring in, you got to understand these players cost really green money, bro. I'll tell you something. Did you guys see the Derek Stingley Jr. deal today? See, when we start talking about trading for Jair Alexander, when you start talking about trading for this one and that one, this is what happens when you do that. You got to pay these guys, man. And you got to understand something. The Raiders are not there yet to be doling out big contracts to guys that come from somewhere else. With Max, you got to keep your homegrown guy, right? He's a tone setter. He's a guy in the building of everybody. I love how Lonnie Johnson brought up he don't want to let Max down. I love that. That goes to show you what kind of leader Max is, right? But at the end of the day, man, you can't, at the stage of the game that we're in and building this roster to get it back to respectability, you cannot throw money away like that. You can't. And guys, when you start talking about, bringing this guy in, bringing that guy in, I think the Raiders, unless they really, really, really bring a game changer in up front or they bring in a linebacker, I think the Raiders should stand down. They should stand down and sit on their hands and wait until they get their draft haul to see what direction they're going to go with the money that they have left. Because they're going to be post-June 1st cuts. That's going to be like the second wave of free agency. I think at this point, the Raiders need to stand pat. They need to stand back. I mean, and that's pretty much where I'm at with it, man. Now, look, man, guys, the Raheem Mostert signing. Now, that was a shocker to me. A little long in the tooth. 31 years old. Enjoyed a career year for Miami. Made the Pro Bowl, had 1,012 yards, scored 21 touchdowns. He was a fantasy baller this year because I'm going to be honest with you. Whenever I played daily fantasy, I would always bring him in as my flex player. Beast, man. But yeah, man, this the thing. Mostert had played one game under Chip Kelly. I don't know whether that means anything. you see these players and these coaches where they rub shoulders and we just assume that's why they've been brought in. But sometimes it's not about that. So, sometimes it just makes sense. It doesn't have anything to do with the coach because the coach has a small amount of familiarity with the player. Now, Mostert, to be real, man, had a career year. He had a career year, and the thing that worries me about him is that fact that he's 31 years old, and he would come in and start playing like he's 31 years old. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. My guy Soup. I think they go cheap as other GMs did the first season. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to, right? Like the Raiders have a few things that are on the plate, right? They got to develop the players, right? So how are you going to develop them and you don't know them yet? They got to get to know the players. They need to develop the players. They need to see who was a possibility, who will stay. And then you got to go through with a fine-tooth comb and kind of cut the fat. And that's what you do in your first year of an organization. I didn't expect these guys to come in here and clean house and go sign up 1 million people, man. I see a lot of podcasters do that, man. My God. Mostert, he only had 759 carries. That's not a lot in 10 years. Yeah, he's been mostly a backup. So look, the thing about Mostert is I think he'll definitely he'll bring knowledge of the offense. He'll bring some leadership. And what he does is he effectively raises the floor of the running back room. He's not a guy that will make you not go after a running back in this loaded running back draft, but he's also a guy that if need be, you need him to step in for injury purposes, or young guy might not be getting it done at the moment. You could put Mostert in. He can get it done at any time. I love the signing. Love it. It would have been weird to have seen Darryl Stingley Jr. on the team after his grandfather got paralyzed by Jack Tatum. Oh, look, man, I don't. I always thought about that. I always wanted Darryl Stingley Jr., man. I think he's a terrific young player. I always have, right? But I think he might have some Ken Griffey Jr. kind of vibes with the Raiders. He probably does, right? Because Ken Griffey Jr. he notoriously said if he got traded to the Yankees, he couldn't get out of it, he'd retire. He remembers how he was treated in the dugout as a kid. He said he'd never play for the Yankees, right? And he did. And maybe Stingley has that kind. I don't know if he internalized it the same way because he wasn't even born yet, Wasn't even born yet. But, look, man. When we start talking about free agency, man, it's – and I know people don't want to hear this. I get people arguing with me on Twitter all the time what we need to do, what we should do. The Raiders, what they should do is they need to sit on their hands and they need to really, really see what they got inside that locker room. Guys like Tommy Eichenberg and all these young guys, they got to get these guys involved. They do. And they don't have to run out there and go just grab somebody just because. The answers to your problems might be in the building. And I noticed they've taken that approach with the offensive line. The problem with the offensive line is, for me, is that this will be their third iteration of coaches, a lot of these guys. And it gets to a point where you can't, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, man. What the hell is wrong with me? You say, I won't play for the Yankees either. What the hell is wrong with me, guys? It's crazy, man. It's like I'm on the air and I'm talking and I got my thought and then I lose it. I'm telling you, this might be a historically bad live, guys. Historically. It's terrible, man. I should have took a damn nap after I got off the plane, man. Should have took a damn nap. I just really lost my train of thought when I was talking. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wait, making good signings like replacing Spillane with a similar guy for $8 million. Yeah. I mean, guys, you see, I think we have a tendency as Raider fans to overinflate the value of some of the players that we have. Now, the crazy thing is that other teams are willing to pay for a lot of our pieces. So I guess they were better than I thought, right? But, you know, you got the Patriots, right? They are just stocking up with former Raiders. Stocking up. Yo, my guy Robinson Cisnero, need coffee. Feel mighty fabric in here. Get the F up out of here. Hold on. You guys are right. I think I do need some coffee, man. I think I do, man. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I am freaking, I'm beat, man. I'm beat, man. I had a great vacation, great time, but I don't think that I've gone to sleep before 2 o'clock in the morning in the last week, man. It's crazy, man. You guys, give me a second. Let me see if anyone's home. I don't even know who's home. I don't even know who's home. I'll be honest with you. I definitely need coffee. It's crazy. I don't think anybody's home. I do not think anybody's home. Let me look at the camera here. You guys, hold on a minute, real quick. Let me see who the F is here. Wait, no, yeah, you know, Frank, yeah, it is super jet lag, bro. I'm through, man. But guess what? That doesn't mean that this live is gonna stop. This live ain't gonna stop, baby. Wait, hold on. Tyler, bro. He said, you ain't like, no, I like the free agents we brought in. Look, you know what the thing about free agency, man? It's not about getting the players that we think are good. It's about getting the players that they think are going to fit into what they're trying to do and getting players that fit into their plan financially. Like when you are a person that's running an organization, it's not just about just this season. Because what your intentions are is that, yo, you're going to have this job for the next couple of years. So you're trying to lay the foundation for the next couple of years. Yo, damn, I'm getting cooked, calling me old. I mean, this is crazy, man. Crazy. Unbelievable. This is crazy work, guys. Yeah, I know I'm on island time, bro. Yeah, man. But look, like I said, man, a lot of these organizations, bro, when they go with their plan, they have their plan mapped out for the next few years. But with us, we have a situation where you got John Spytek, you got Pete Carroll, you got Tom Brady, right? They got to get to learn each other. They all have to put their head together and kind of figure out what their idea of what the Raiders look like. You know what I'm saying? So give this some time, guys. Give it some time. Now, I am not trying to be some apologist for the organization. Do I think there's some things that they could have done a little better? Yeah. But what do I know, right? I'm not in that room. The only people who know exactly what they're trying to do is Brady and them. But let me give some highlights to what I feel like was done right. The fact that they addressed the quarterback opens up the world for the Raiders at number 6 and for the rest of the draft. Because when you're chasing the great white whale, right? When it becomes a Captain Ahab kind of a situation, you're trying to get that quarterback. The fact that we have a quarterback that's comfortable with our head coach that wanted to come to the Raiders, could have got more money to stay where he was at, but he wanted to come here. That is a good sign. We have a guy who has a 70% completion rating. It's excellent. A guy that has all the physical ability in the world. Look, we don't have to have a quarterback that's better than Patrick Mahomes, but we do have to have a quarterback that's capable of going into Arrowhead and possibly winning. We can't keep having these guys under center that you know you have no shot with. We can't continue to have that, man. And this is what was going on with the Raiders over the last few years, man. So to me, the most important thing was quarterback check. Big Mike, you about to speak on the O-line and how some of them are enduring coaching carousel. Thank you, Big Mike. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. I didn't even know you were home. I can't find my phone. You can't find your phone? You messed up too, baby. Thank you. My wife saved my life, man, as usual. Oh, my God. I had a decent cup of coffee in days. Oh, my God, man. Yeah. Well, look, So when you start talking about the offensive line, right? See, this is the thing, man. Like, I I, I want for Spytek, I want for Carroll and all these guys to understand something. Being patient when it comes to the offensive line reverberates through the whole organization. That's something that you can't be freaking patient about. And that's one of the biggest reasons why when I start talking about grading this offseason so far, it's something I'm very disappointed in. Oh my God. Man, I needed that. It's like I'm a whole new man. It's like I'm a whole new man. Let me get another sip, man. Now, Caps, look, I'm going to turn the show over to you guys. Caps, this is the thing, man. When you start talking about Landon Roberts, right, he could possibly be as good as Robert Spillane, right? But don't bet on that, right? The one thing that I noticed that Pete Carroll and Spytek has done is they've increased the athletic profile of the Raider defense. They got guys all up and down this defense now that are athletically super talented, man. Landon Roberts is a guy that, man, is explosive. Like when you look at his tape, man, he just jumps off the tape. He just jumps off the page, man. The guy is an explosive player. I mean, all of these guys, man. Oh my God, man. Who would have thunk that I need this much coffee, man? Yo, we got over 900 in the room. Get wasted with your brother wasted. Yeah, it brought me back to life, right? Brought me back to life. Oh my God. Man, I needed that, bro. But you guys got to understand something, man. The one thing that I'm glad that I didn't see, and we're gonna put a pin in this. We're gonna close this down. I didn't see the Raiders go out there and do anything fiscally irresponsible. I didn't see anything fiscally irresponsible. And that, see, to me, that's the most important thing. If you don't have money, you don't have cap space. The Raiders currently sit at $48 million. If you're not viable to be able to make moves, then what are we talking about here? They did, like my guy Horace Green said, they did what needed to be done. They went and got a quarterback. So now you don't have to say, yo, we got the worst quarterback in God's creation. We have no shot. At least you got a shot. At least you got a shot. And everybody keeps talking about Najee Harris. Let me tell y'all something. Have you guys seen pictures of Najee Harris? Have you guys seen pictures of Najee Harris over the last week? Man, Najee Harris is looking a bit thick frame, bro. Najee Harris is looking wild out of shape, bro. He was. I don't know if that picture was legit. I saw a picture. You guys got to say, so I got to get back with it. My internet was going in and out when I was out of the country. But the thing with the Najee Harris signing is, in a draft like we're having this year with all of these running backs, right? For them to go out there to spend money on a running back, I think is foolish, right? And I think it's going to bite the Chargers in the ass. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm gonna be real with you. Listen. I'm glad that the Raiders did what they did. See, the one thing, and I don't know how Landon is gonna work out for the Raiders, right? But I love how he came in the building, bro. I love the attitude. I love the fact that everybody that they brought in are guys that want to hit people. I love it. And when you talk about the Mekhi Becton signing, right? Look, I wanted the Raiders to kick the tires of Mekhi Becton, right? But let's not get carried away with this Mekhi Becton signing, right? Essentially, what you have with Mekhi Becton is you have a guy that you're betting is going to give you the production he gave you when he was in one of the premier units in the league. I don't think that that's what you're going to get with Mekhi Becton. I really don't. Mekhi Becton is a very mercurial guy, man. I remember when he was with the Jets, he had some issues with their coaching staff. It was a lot of issues. Like, see, the thing when you play with a really good organization and you play with other great players, it just makes everything easy for you. Especially when you got to bite at the apple and you know what it's like to win, right? It's like going from the penthouse back down to the outhouse again. Now he's with the Chargers, right? And there could be some losing that happens there. How is Mekhi Becton going to react to that? I don't necessarily know whether or not that was the best deal in the world. Now, look, that Chargers line with Mekhi Becton and Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, if they're healthy, man, that's going to be a problem for the Raiders. That's going to be a problem if Mekhi Becton if he's as good as he was with the Eagles. Now listen, and Cap, this is the one guy that I wanted the Raiders to bring in him. Tevin Jenkins is a guy that I wanted the Raiders to take a look at, kick the tires on. I really did, man. Yeah, and DeMarcus, I love that. I love the Stokes move, bro. Stokes is a guy who is one of those low risk, high reward kind of guys, man. He fits the archetype of what Pete Carroll has done in the past. So if you want to kind of, get a glimpse into the future, you can see exactly what he's doing. You can see exactly what he's doing. And look, he's injury prone. He's going to the Chargers, who's a team that, for whatever reason, always has a rash of injuries everywhere. Hey, look, man, hold on. Natural immunity, you got to get blocked with that crap. That crap up out of here. Your nonsense. We're talking ball over here, man. Yeah, but no, Stokes is looking like a guy, man, that we're gonna be able to lay our faith in. Now, guys, look, I saw a lot of crap on Twitter the other day, right? Some rumors out there. People were talking about, sources and where you get your sources from, and I saw people. I didn't get a chance to really, address it. I didn't get a chance to address it. I heard people, talking slick, talking greasy about my guy Rain, and talking about, Graf and some, talking about all of us, talking about, our sources and people making stuff up. Let me tell you guys something, man. The NFL, when you start talking about insiders, right, don't really have any real insiders anymore. I'm going to tell you that. All of this stuff that you hear, right, whatever comes out of any of these organizations, it's most of the time, it's a carefully curated message. The reason why they give it to somebody is because they got a relationship with an agent, and the agent wants the contract value numbers out there. Because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen with my guy Paul, where he wanted to announce Jeffrey Simmons' contract. He told us, so he hit me, he hit Graf. He told us what happened before it happened. He said, don't say nothing, because it was a guy that he had a relationship, and he gave him the information first. That's what the agents nowadays do. All of this stuff that comes out of these organizations because they want it to get out. And they have certain people that they've picked. They want it to get out. They want that message to be disseminated to the public. They want the contract details to be out. They want, like, hey, my guy want to get out of here. Yo, here go the story. So really, like, to be real with you, people got to understand something. We got relationships with people. We have relationships with players and people who work in organizations and stuff. That's where a lot of the real insight comes from. The people that are listening when you don't think that you're listening. The people around the organization who's sweeping up the joint. That's what a lot. And I'm not saying that some of these guys aren't, tapped in because they are. But the ones that are really, really tapped in, and names you hear all the time, they're getting that information for a reason, bro. They're getting it for a reason. My guy, Rudy the Vet Russo, with the $10 bomb. Becton is going to find fireweed and Pogland Cali, and his game will fall apart. Rudy been effing told you. The F is wrong with you, Rudy. Don't put that on that kid. Well, listen, let me tell you something, man. That's one hell of a mixture, man. Pogs and weed, man. Make anybody go off course. My guy, Rudy Verusa, wasted in graph for getting two-way threats from YouTube thugs. Are we? Are we? Am I getting threatened? Am I getting threatened by people on YouTube? I'm going to clutch my pearls here. Rudy, we get threatened by people on YouTube. The F up out of here, man. Don't make me laugh, yo. Ain't nobody doing that, bro. Ain't nobody doing that, yo. Come on, man. We come on, bro. Hey, bro, if it's happening, I don't see it, bro. And man, come on, bro. Come on, I'm dealing kids' business. Rudy with his crap. Ain't nobody threatening nobody, bro. Nobody is threatening us. Trust me, man. And I don't really know how well that goes for people anyway, man. I'll be honest with you, bro. Yo, hey, don't bring up no other content creators in here too, yo. Don't bring up no other content creators up here, yo. Please, don't do that. I don't play them games. I'm too old for that shit. Way too old for that shit. I look, man, I don't have no problem. I love everybody, man. Rudy with your nonsense, man. Hey, yo, let me tell you something, man. My feet are well moisturized, Mondo. The F is wrong with you. Ankles. Yeah, you ain't, man. You see this guy, man? This freaking guy. So look, man. Let's get back into some more of this, man. I've been going for a while. I'm starting to get my footing back here. A little rusty here, like my ankles were. Yes. So, guys, let me ask you guys a question. At number 6, right? There were a lot of people. There was an article that, it was funny. I tapped in the graph show at the end, and I heard him bring this article by Bill Williamson up, talking about, in Pete Carroll's first year, kind of tips his hand, he drafts defensive backs, right? Now, there are 2 defensive backs that are very, 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 very highly touted, right, this year. You got Will Johnson, which we'll get into Will Johnson really quickly, man. Will Johnson is a guy that is dealing with some things right now. He is dealing with some things right now, man. He's I don't know, man. I think it's going to affect his draft stock, because 7 hours ago, Will Johnson suffered another injury, man, after the scouting combine, which, he didn't work out to because of a turf toe injury or injury to his toe, suffered in October. He missed time with a shoulder injury, making a tackle against Michigan's win over USC in September. And he just had another setback today, man. He tore some ligaments in the toe. It had prevented him from running for several weeks. Now, when you start having problems with your toes, man, you can look back to Shaquille O'Neal. It's like you have problems with one toe, and then that whole leg becomes a nightmare. And it's, for me, I'm never a proponent of drafting a guy that's a young rookie that has issues, with his lower extremities, man. I am never a proponent. And shout out to my guy, Jason Hunter, gifted 5 Raider Nation Unlimited Wasted Talent memberships, making the Wasted Talent Army grow in droves at ease, soldier. My guy, Darth Raider Prime. Man, hold on. That's my dog, man. I know you damn lying to me. Just showing some Raider love. Your boy will be 50 Friday. Oh, the big 5-0. Darth Raider Prime. He's in his 50 cent season right now. Shout out to my guy, Darth Vader Prime. Happy birthday, bro. I know they're happy yet, but happy birthday, man. But yeah, look, see, drafting a guy like Will Johnson, that's a Reggie McKenzie move. Look, I'm staying away from Will Johnson. I'm staying away from Titeroy McMillan. I'm staying away from McMillan. He's a jump ball receiver. I look, when I was away, you know, my wife was writing and reading, and we were hanging out on the beach, and I was reading and stuff, and I was watching just all 22 film. I was watching highlights. McMillan is the kind of receiver that if he went somewhere like Washington with Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin and all of the guys they got there, he would fit in, and he'd be something that they don't have. He'd be something that would help that wide receiver room as a rookie. But bringing him and thinking he's going to be Mike Evans and be an X because he's 6'5" and this, that, and the third, the problem with a guy like that is the fact that when he has a problem getting his release at the line, when he's lined up at the line of scrimmage, when he has that kind of a problem, look, that's something that's going to be rough to fix right at the NFL level if you're going to depend on him being your X. When you have a receiver that has problems separating, when you have a receiver that wins only with these one-on-one jump balls, and look, he's a guy who played other sports. He played other sports, and it helps him. You can tell, right? Well, body positioning, he's excellent. He has really good hands, but you're never going to see this kid route anybody up and leave him in the dust and be waving for the football. He's always going to be making contested catches. This is very, 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 like par for the course for some of these bigger guys. You guys like Mike Williams and guys like that. They just don't quite pan out, man. Yeah, his route running skills are not great. So when they compare him to Mike Evans, they look alike. Like as far as from a stature standpoint, but that's where the comparisons end. He's not Mike Evans. And if you're expecting him to be that, if you're expecting him to be Drake London, that is not what you're going to get. That's not what you're going to get. So I'm warning you guys about this. Now, the thing about this draft is there's a lot of talented offensive players, but at 6, you want to make sure that you've taken a top 10 player in this draft. So by taking a top 10 player, you talk about a guy that's a perennial starter, possible Pro Bowler. So how does that happen, right? So do you double down on the defensive line? A lot of people say Mason Graham, right? Mason Graham's not a great pass rusher. He's disruptive as hell. But if I'm being honest, when you look at the Raiders' positional groupings, most of the money is on the defensive line. You got to spread the money. You got to spread the wealth, right? Because what we don't want to happen with the Raiders is that you're putting all this draft capital into the defensive line, all this money into the defensive line, and we essentially wind up being the defensive version of the Cincinnati Bengals are right now. It's not what we want, right? So, okay, you got to ask yourself, you need a running back, but there's like 10 of them that you can probably be okay with. But you got to ask yourself, does Ashton Jeanty, does his skill set loom larger than everyone else's? Does it blow everyone else's away to where there's a line of demarcation between his ceiling and everyone else's ceiling? Because that's not what I see with Jeanty, right? Then you ask yourself, you say, hey, man, am I going to take Nick Amanwari, the safety? And I like him. I do. I love the measurables. I love kind of the comparison to Cam Chancellor, but I think that people are having recency bias with him, and we're falling in love with his combine because I like the kid, right? And then I had to go back and I had to really watch, right? And what I noticed is that I'm not even sure after I really watched Nick Amanwari, and I have to retract what I was saying about him, right? From a physical standpoint, the guy's off the freaking charts, and if he's used properly, great. If he's used properly, and that's a big if. That's a big if, man, if he's used properly. But there are little whispers in my ear when I see Amanwari, right? And when I see him, I think to myself, is this guy going to be Obi Melafane 2.0? You know, I'm asking, is he going to be Obi Melafane 2.0, man? I mean, the size, the measurables, I get it. I understand. I 100% understand. I 100% understand. But when you look at the tape and you see him in coverage, he looks lost a lot. He looks lost. Is he a better athlete than Obi? Yeah. If he gets put in the right situation, can he be successful? Yeah. But we're talking about the 6th pick in the National Football League draft. This is what we're talking about. Are you willing to risk that? Are you willing to risk that when you got a Malachi Starks in this draft that does everything right from the safety position? Now, this is the guy that I wanted to get to. It's funny, man. John Miller, the goated chat. What do I think about Armand Mabu? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I think that if I'm drafting for the Raiders and he's there, I'm taking him. I think that he will be a starting left tackle, right tackle for the rest of his career. I think that this kid, test off the charts. His tape looks great. Some of his physical attributes are off the charts. He is a guy that I would draft right now. But this is the thing. I don't think he gets to the Raiders. I think the place where you see him get taken, unless Travis Hunter falls, is to the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots drafted their quarterback last year, and they want to protect that kid. Drake May, they need to make sure that Drake May is kept clean. This will be their pick. 100%. But if he's on the board for us and the Abdul Carters of the world are taken and the quarterback is taken, if it's him or Austin Genty, I am taking Armand. 100%. I know people don't agree with me. A lot of people love Genty, bro. A lot of people love Genty. They do. I just think that by taking another running back, you've addressed that position and you have a starting level player at that position. And you've also got another starting level position guy that's if you get a young left tackle or a young right tackle, that could be solidifying the line for the next decade. That is one of those moves that people get mad about on draft day, but 2-3 years later are thanking God that we made it. And if you ever want to think about what that's like, go back, guys, gather around the fire. I'm going to get back on my soapbox like I've never gotten on. Think back to the Colton Miller draft. Think back to how upset some people were. Just think about it. And when you really think about it, would you have it any other way than them drafting Colton Miller? Big Mike Raider. Sounds like you don't really love any of these prospects. That sounds like trade back and stack up guys. See, Big Mike, the problem is if you trade back, right? One, who you trading with, where you trading to, and then now you've kind of lost control of the board. You might put yourself in no man's land by trading back. See, trading back means that there are players on your board where you have like 5 or 6 guys that are red circle that you're willing to take at that 6th pick. But I think for the Raiders, I think their draft board at the 6th pick, because I think they have somebody that they have in mind. And I think that list is a lot smaller than people would think. I feel like if the Raiders were totally out on this class of players, they would have moved that pick along and brought in a big player. Because, from what I understand, that, the situation with the Raiders behind the scenes trying to bring in a marquee player, that was the sticking point, the 6th pick. That was the sticking point. That was the sticking point. Now, guys say take Genty. If they do, will I be upset? No. Will I be ecstatic about it? Not really, because I feel like, it's dollar cost average, right? Yeah, is Genty he's a beast, but there are other guys in this draft. It'd be different if it's one of those drafts where there's only 2 running backs and the rest of the guys are very average. This is an exceptional class of running backs, man. And I'm not even sure whether when they all get to the league that one of these guys that are beneath Genty outshine him. I mean, and then he has a lot of mileage on that body, that 5'9" body is a lot of mileage, bro. A lot of mileage. And you're taking this guy with the 6th pick, right? So that means the price point is at a certain level. The price point is at a certain level. So we got to ask ourselves. I think that the Raiders probably have 1 or 2 guys that they have red circle, and that's it. Now, when people start talking about Will Johnson, bro, and Graf brought this up, Will Johnson is starting off on the wrong foot, so to speak. Did the Will Johnson to the Raiders noise early in the offseason, did that sound like it was lining up? It almost seemed poetic. Cornerback from Michigan, great defensive head coach who lauds and covets defensive backs, drafts them in the 1st round. It was almost a script that wrote itself. But it's irresponsible for a new regime to draft a player that is injured like that. It is almost organizational malpractice. It is malpractice at its finest. Raider Nation will be going out there, going to sign an ambulance chaser to sue the Raiders. You can't bring a kid in that have low extremity injuries like that at 6. You just can't. So we're painting ourselves in a corner here, bro. I really believe that the Raiders have somebody that they and only they want at 6. Or they're going to play the game with the quarterbacks. I do. And the more I think about this and the more I talk this out on the air, right? I'm in worry at 6. It might be nasty work. The tape's not really lining up. Right? The tape is not lining up to where you wouldn't feel a little nervous about that pick from a cover standpoint. Right? Will Johnson, injury-prone guy, injured right now. There might be a timeline on getting him on the field. Then you have a guy that was about 40 carries shy of the all-time record in carries in college for a season, because the most carries for a running back were, like 800 carries on the dot. Austin Genty had like 749 carries. A lot of mileage on that body. And it's not the fact that he's in the Mountain West, right? It's not the fact for me. He's a great receiving back too. And that's the thing I think that is the line of demarcation between him and everyone else, is that he gets it done in the receiving game. And I can see that happening. I can see the Raiders taking him. But what you got to ask yourself is, if you are a Raider organization, right, you need a running back. If you almost have to turn everything around this year or next year. You have to. Because if you are paying a running back top 10 money, when it's time for him to re-up, you're going to have to back the Brinks truck up to keep this guy. And if the organization is bad, or they have a bunch of contracts, the first thing that's going to go is the running back. Getting and addressing the running back position, to me, is the easiest position to address in football. You got guys that are on the scrap heap that are being brought into teams and blowing everybody's doors off. And it's like, man, listen, I don't want to be in a Josh Jacobs situation a few years down the line with Genty. I don't want to go out and go buy that jersey, right? And then the money ain't lining up and the team ain't playing well and you got to pay a running back and you didn't pay it. I don't need that shit. I'm sorry. I would rather keep that grouping. I would keep the money at a certain level, especially when you have a quarterback that's probably going to be making north of $40 million. It's nasty work because the team isn't filled out yet. Abdul is hurt as well. No Tyree 2.0 scenario. See, Abdul Carter, that's a little different, bro. Like Tyree Wilson had like a microfracture in his foot, man. Like these little tiny bones that don't heal. Tyree Wilson had a way more serious situation than Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter will be fine. If you draft Abdul Carter will be on the field week 1. Week 1, he'll be on the field. I don't believe that with some of these other guys, man. My God, Pessimistic Frank with the $5 smackaroni. Drop back. I would get Jahad Campbell and Carson Schlesinger. D wins championships. We are in a rebuild. Pick a running back later on. Salute. Look, you know how I feel about Jahad Campbell, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. See, that's a rough proposition, right? Because you have a lot of positions that need to be filled in, right? But at the top of that list on this roster, linebacker is not a position that you're legit, like you're starved for, right? So from a Raiders perspective, right? Quarterback of the future is always ranks right up there, right? But then after that, you know, you need a running back more than you need a linebacker, right? At this point, right? You would want to have another cornerback in that positional grouping, right? You definitely need an offensive lineman in that positional grouping before you get up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, like, you need wide receivers. So can you afford to take a linebacker in the first round? I don't think the Raiders are at liberty to do that. The Raiders are not at liberty to take a linebacker. And you guys know I played the position and everything. I'm a linebacker aficionado. You cannot take a linebacker in the first round unless the guy turns out to be Ray Lewis or some shit like that. My guy, Derek Calhoun, more power to you, Wasted. Thanks for what you do. This has been the first offseason in a very long time where I'm excited. And I think we finally have a culture builder for success to come. And that's what this is all about, guys. This is not about solving every problem that the Raiders have had. This is not about exercising the demons of the last 20 years. This is a move for respectability, getting back to ground zero, getting back to contenders, being contenders, right? Because it's easier to navigate an offseason when you don't have to fill the refrigerator and cook the meal. You know what I mean? It's a lot better going to the offseason when you got one hole to plug. One hole to plug is insane. Waste's favorite linebacker of all time is Luke Asterson. No, that is your favorite linebacker. Listen, Luke Disasterson. Tell you something, man. That guy, man. Look, I like Luke, man, but Luke is a special teamer, bro. There's no way he should be starting. Said that's what she said. Oh, bang zoom, bang zoom. Yo, my guy, Hug D's. Whoever we get at 6 needs to be a day one contributor. Honestly, I love an interior line stud to pair with Powers Johnson, and I would too, because bro, the thing is, I don't really think this draft cycle or off season is about making the flashy move. It's not about that. It's about making the right move. It's about picking the right player. This is what this is about. It's about the Raiders closing off certain positional groups and be like, you know what? We're good there. Let's move on. Let's move on. We're good there. But the problem with this draft is there is talent in this draft, right? But when you get those ebbs and flows with what we need, right? It just so happens that the things we need are some of the weakest positional groups, or not weak in per se, but they don't have any definitive answers. Like even the wide receiver group, right? There's a lot of like Savion and all them guys, Jack Beck, McMillan. All of these guys are guys that I can see in silver and black, right? But I don't get a definitive answer. There's no Jamar Chases in this draft, bro. There ain't no Jamar Chases. There's no, listen, there's none of that. There's no surefire stone cold lead pipe facts. There's none of them guys in this draft. And see, that's the thing. That's the thing. And now what you have to do is you have to make sure that your scouting group is worth their salt. This year's where the people in this front office who just got into this front office, who are taking their time trying to curate what the metric is for what a Raider is. See, I think what has happened since Al Davis has died, right, is that you always have some sort of low-key power struggle. Because when you don't have your organization set up where you have everything in line the way it's supposed to be, you have people in places and spaces where they should not be. It is like in my house, right? My wife and myself, right? I am the man of the house. This is my home. I bought it. I bust my ass for everything we have. When my kids were little, my wife didn't work. She was at home, and I took care of my family. And I used to work 70 hours a week, and I busted my ass, right? But there's no doubt who is in charge here when it comes to my children. My children, they know what time it is. We love them. We got a great relationship with them. We don't have to rule with an iron fist, but they understand where they fit in the dynamic in our house. They understand that. See, what winds up happening with the way it's been with the Raiders is that we've had situations where you got a GM that ain't really the GM. You got a coach that ain't really the coach. You got a coach that's an interim coach and don't know if he's going to be here and how he's going to. Then you got a GM that don't have power over the coach and all of these things, right? So now the metric to what a Raider is something that you can't really figure out. You can't figure it out. It's hard to figure it out because you don't know who's really in charge, whose voice weighs the most. See, I don't think we're going to have that. I don't think we're going to have that. I think we know, based off of the fact that John Spytek was brought in by Tom, that Brady and Spytek are they're gonna listen to Pete. They are. You can see it now with all of the moves they made. They're gonna listen to Pete. But what I don't think is gonna happen is I don't think Pete gets final cut. And I think that they all are on the same page to what a Raider looks like. That's what's most important. That's what's been missing. Even when Al was losing his glory days, right? You knew that Al had a certain archetype for what a Raider is supposed to look like, what we're looking for. Everybody knew it. There were guys in the draft for years. Everybody, oh, that's an Al Davis guy. Yeah, Al draft that guy. That's what's been missing. What the F is going on here? What the F? Grab, are you trying to grab? Do you want to get unceremoniously blocked? The F are you talking about? You about to get blocked.
Right? And why your voice get hella quiet and you looked around before you said, you know the need to run the house, bro.
Yo, you said, yo, my daughters do not run this place. And you know what? They not even home. I can speak freely.
You turned in a mighty mouth and you looked around that room before you said that shit. I swear to God on Detroit Buddha, your ass looked like you was lying to yourself.
Yo, don't you be swearing on Detroit Buddha. That's blasphemy. The F up out of here, Grab. All right, bro. My daughters don't want no smoke. They know what time it is up in here. Little baby kids. My guy, Big Mike Raiders, shout out to my dog. He said, reminds me a lot of the 2013 drafts. Tons of first-round busts, but players who weren't picked were picked later. It was a good fit. We need that type of draft. Yeah, I think that this is a draft where if I'm the Raiders brass, I'm trying to go at the safest pick possible. I think I'm willing to gamble on a Shedeur Sanders because I don't think Shedeur Sanders is a big gamble. Look, just from my purview, right? It's not a big gamble, right? Because a lot of the things that people say about him are not tangible. This is not a situation like Johnny Manziel where you knew that there was a size issue. There was a lot of issues. They talk about how physically talented he was, but there were things that people just overlooked with his character. They just the partying, the bullshit. It was okay for Johnny Manziel to have, all of these social media followers and be on social media every day and showing up to games with LeBron James and being friends with Drake and being all on the scene and the money and all this nonsense, right? Nobody said nothing to that. What Shedeur doing like this is a problem, but it wasn't a problem for Johnny Manziel to do this, right? It's not even a problem. And now you can legally do this now. Because NIL, right? You can, these guys riding around in phantoms and shit like that. And he comes from money. So you gotta ask yourself, right? Like, okay. But I think if I'm the Raiders, I'm taking the boring way out all the way through. I'm not trying to go out here and ingratiate myself to the fan base with, the splash in the first round. I'm not doing that. I'm going and shoring up my offensive line. I'm going out there, and if there's a defensive lineman that I think that's special, that can move the needle and it could turn that unit, even though I will prefer for them to kind of stay away from defensive line because I think they've done enough to address that. If they were to bring in a guy on a defensive line that they knew was a star player, then you can kind of recreate some of what Philadelphia has. But I think this is a draft that the Raiders need to focus on shoring up the trenches. It might not be the sexy pick. It might not be what you guys want. I know you guys see the wide receivers. You see McMillan, and you guys see this big dude who looks like Mike Evans, who is making all these spectacular circus catches, right? But what you don't see is you don't see McMillan routing anybody up. You don't see McMillan separating from anybody, and you see every catch in his highlight reel being a contested catch with some little 5'9" cornerback that he should have dusted off. And how do you think that's going to work in the National Football League if he gets a contract to where people are saying, you the number one guy? To the way he moves, his tape looks less impressive. Let me not say this. I am going to say it. To me, he looks like he looks like Keyshawn Johnson. He just don't separate from anybody. I'm staying away, yo. I'm staying away. Yo, my guy Hug Dizzle in a place to bizzle. That's so corny. Wasted. You ever seen Friday After Next? I'm thinking you were the Santa robber with the North Pole snow beard you got going on. Hugs us. Get the F up out of here. You trying to call me Ricky Smiley? Hug these. Man, you thick frame bastard. You look like a thick ass bag of groceries. Talking that crap. The F up out of here. We are desperate for a winner now, but we need to focus on the building process to become a Super Bowl contender every year, like the Eagles and Lions. Yeah. Bro, you don't go from worst to first like that, man. This is not a Disney movie, bro. You have to do what you need to do to get to the point where you can make those splash signings. You can make them splash moves in the draft. You can do that. But, Joe, there has to be this baseline of talent, right? Like, there are a lot of organizations that no matter what, right? Like the way the Rams are built. They've done such a good job. The Eagles, Howie Roseman does such a good job in free agency in the draft that at the very minimum, they are a few games over 500. And they're always waiting around to strike to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, my guy, James Williams. The Raiders have never built the team the correct way. It's a new day, nation. Let's hope. Because we don't know what they're going to do, bro. My guy, Ridgeback, Minbow, Carter, or Hunter. If they're not there at 6, then trade back and get Malachi Moore. Look, Malachi Moore, the more I look, Nick Amawari is a dream from a physical standpoint. Does he look like he can be like a Bam Bam Cam kind of guy? Yeah. But when you talk about just pure talent and how to play the safety position, Malachi Moore is an upgrade over Trayvon Berry. Malachi Moore is going to be a all-pro one day. Mark my words. Wasted men told you. Randy Nichols been saying O-line is the best option. If the QBs are gone, if we're outside the top 10, Ted Argenti or some of these other guys would be all right. Now, Ted, to me, is a guy I'm staying away from in the first round. I'm staying away from him, bro. He is a jump ball wide receiver. I'm staying away from him. I'm sorry. I'm not paying him first round money for him to be mid and for us to have to go out there and get another receiver again. I'm not doing it, bro. Malachi Starr, my bad. Hey, listen, we talk about so much. I'm talking about Malachi Moore. What the F is wrong with me, bro? The F is wrong with me, man. I mean, look, bro, you guys talking about Malachi Starr. So I'm talking about Malachi Moore. I don't know what the F you talking about. But yeah, man. So when you start talking about, Genti, can Genti be a great player? Yeah. But do I think that he's going to come in? People call him generational. Do I think that Genti's going to come into the league and be what Adrian Peterson was? Do I think he's going to come in and do what LaDainian Tomlinson did? I don't know that I see that from him. I don't know if I see that from him. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't know if I see that from him. I do not know if I see that from him. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, am I wrong? Everybody says nobody knows what T-Mac will be. Look, Sue, just look at the tape. You don't see, like, bro, you don't see T-Mac wide open. You don't see him just routing somebody up and calling for the ball. Like, bro, go back. If you're going to make a comparison, go back and look at Drake London's tape at USC and go and compare it to McMillan. Just do me that favor. That kid, McMillan, couldn't tie Drake London's shoes, bro. He could not tie his shoes, bro. Could not tie his shoes. Just go back and look. Do me that favor. And yo, I wasn't sleeping on Brock Bowers. I said Brock Bowers the best tight end in the draft. I just wanted a quarterback. I wanted us to take Michael Penix Jr. I was disappointed that they didn't take him. That was, my thing. I was disappointed that we didn't take a quarterback. I think it was a mistake. But now we got Brock. He looking like a Hall of Fame guy, and we got a quarterback now. So what do I know, right? I wanted a quarterback last year, bro. I think Michael Penix Jr. would have been somebody that they should have made a move for. I'm sorry, bro. Shout out to the over 900 of y'all in the room. We're going at this for a long, long damn time, yo. A long time, bro. I think it's time for us to pull the train to the train station. Listen, this was a choppy live, but listen, to get my footing back. I've been going for over a week, man. Listen, guys, we're back. I'm back. The lives are going to get sick and silly. Sick and silly. But guys, you guys have a terrific night. I'm going to go to sleep because I'm jet lagged like crazy, man. You guys have a great night. I'm out of here. We will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.